woman with a purple jacket that looks like it might be corduroy. And it looks like a very nice diadem around her neck, but I can't quite make it out. It looks like a nice diadem. Oh, Michael is running the sound. Oh, Michael is running the sound. Michael. And this young lady coming down the aisle, I'm not sure who that is. What's your name? Oh, that's Bryn. Oh, that's Bryn. Oh, that's Bryn. Oh, Bryn from Illinois. Didn't you go to school in Illinois? I did. She went to school in Illinois. Milliken? Yeah. How did I know that? How about this lady in the purple with a nice diadem around her neck? Can you see it? She doesn't realize they've been singing about her for 20 minutes now. What's that diadem around your neck? Yeah.
We'll make something for you to sing. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Avi's coming in. Yeah.
It looks really nice from this distance anyway. I noticed it. And there were skrankas, and there were skrankas. There were skrankas on the bema, there were skrankas. Eating apples, eating apples. They were eating apples on the bema, eating apples. There were skrankas. You want to sing with us? Come on, sit. Just tell me which ones you want to sing. Which?
You're gonna do your Shalom Aleichem, right?
You like that?
I like that one. Yeah.
You want to sing that?
No, I'll follow along with you. Yeah. I'll let
Sit up here and be beautiful. All right. Bryn, Brynne. Bryn, is that right? No E?
But it's actually just one N.
One N?
Just one N. No E. No one N, no E. Nice and short and sweet.
Sarah Skranka. Sarah Skranka. Sarah Skranka's come to join us with an apple. Okay. Thank you very much. Sit wherever you like.
Avi, I can't remember. I feel like Avi likes this.
Happy New Year. Good to see you in person. Happy New Year.
Sit here. Sit wherever you're comfortable. Bryn's gonna sing with us.
Yay. And Leslie.
Leslie's gonna sing with us.
Lala.
Michael's gonna sing with us. Come on, Michael. Come on now, Michael.
Robert. We got Robert.
Robert's gonna sing with us. Lois is gonna sing with us.
We're all going to sing. Everybody needs to sing.
Yeah.
Do you know this lady in the
I just
purple
don't
here?
know.
I do.
Well,
There's
okay.
a lot here. I don't know if Avi wants the stool or a chair.
And the last time I
This
saw
one?
her, sweetheart,
Okay.
he was
So then,
hooked up to 1,000 things.
Oh,
I thought he was going to make it, but
wow. Okay, Bryn. were skrankas. There were
Gotta have
skrankas.
something. Gotta make up something.
Yeah, let's kind of do the semicircle I like.
The choir acts. Gotcha. Will in theory.
You can use
Oh, this was gonna be Avi, and you were gonna get your nice big
this.
soul.
This is not used, I don't think.
Right. The biggest crowds. The biggest crowds.
Unless you want this one, Susie.
What?
This one?
I got this one.
You want this microphone?
We might tonight. Actually, we might tonight.
So I should use this one, Michael.
What?
Okay.
Bust them in. Yes, we.
For the longest time, I thought
And that's true.
I didn't realize it was
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. This Shabbat between these holy days, just this morning, we were here praying the second day Rosh Hashanah service, bringing in the new year as the moon slowly, gradually grows in the sky. But tonight is Shabbat, and this is really the holiest time for us. For Shabbat brings a taste of the world to come. And so we welcome you to join together as we welcome Shabbat and pray that this sense of wholeness, this sense of, dare we say, peace, spreads her magic, not just here, but throughout the world. On Shabbat, we have a way of welcoming. First, we welcome angels. Then we welcome the extra soul. And then we welcome the Sabbath Queen. Oh, how it is lovely to welcome her. I just can't get this image out of my mind of Claudia Sheinbaum, the new president of Mexico, with all of the indigenous women behind her from each of the different villages, she honoring them, asking them to anoint her for her inauguration as the president, the Jewish female president of Mexico. How is that amazing? There are certain things that open up portals, that open up the heart of the world, that dare us to have hope even in this darkness. Shabbat comes, ready or not. Shabbat comes to push us into that place of hope, a belief that the good in us will win. So let's begin. Shalom Aleichem. Okay. So we can turn and begin to welcome the angels on page 6. Thank you, Leslie. Page 6.
Thank you.
Page 6.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hashari, Malachi Elyon, Malachi Hachamim, Melech, Malachi
HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Boachem
Shalom, Malachi
Malachi
Shalom,
Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei HaRachamim, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei HaRachamim, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei HaRachamim, Mi Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 7.
Say what?
Say something. Page 7.
I'm sorry.
Yom Zeh.
Okay.
Say something.
Sure. Page 7, please. The legend is that this text of this song is written by the great Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Holy Ari, we call him. I think the only text we would have, if it's his, in Hebrew, he left us texts in Aramaic, but not in Hebrew, I don't think. This may be his text from the 16th century, beautiful. He was very important. He could speak the language of animals. Walked around the city of Tzfat, you'd see him talking to a cat. Dialoguing with a cat.
I think that's St. Francis.
This is a skill. I have this skill, by the way, so I respect it. Pardon?
No, you do.
I do. So here's the chorus. Yom Zeh Yisrael. This is Israel's day. Ora b'simcha, of light and gladness. Ora b'simcha. Ora b'simcha. Shabbat minucha. Ora b'simcha. Ora b'simcha. Shabbat minucha. Written in a flamenco style. Tzivi da bigudi b'mamad Sinai Shabbat u'moadim לשמור בכל שנה לערוך לפניי מעשי תערוכה. You want to dance, don't you? I know you do. Shabbat Menucha. Here's the chorus. Yom Ze Yisrael Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Shabbat Menucha Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Shabbat Menucha. This is hard, isn't it? The second verse, the additional soul. We welcome the additional soul that we welcome on Shabbat by virtue of time, a deepening of soulfulness. חמדת לבבו לאומה שבורה לנפשות יכבוד נשמה יתרה מנפש מצרה יסיר הנחה. שבת מנוחה. Here's the chorus. Yom Ze Yisrael Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Shabbat Menucha Ora v'simcha Ora v'simcha Shabbat Menucha. קידשת ברכת אותו מכל ימים בששת כילית מלאכת עולמים בו מצאו עגומים השקט וביטחון שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל אורה ושמחה אורה ושמחה אורה ושמחה שבת מנוחה אורה ושמחה אורה ושמחה שבת מנוחה.
How would you like to light the Shabbat candles for us? Past president, one of the people who's been around here the longest, besides me. Come on and light our Shabbat candles. You bring a little Linda light, and yeah, Sarah, you want to join your dad? Let's light the candles.
One second.
So we'll invite everyone to take some light inside, and Leslie will sing us. them a Shabbat Shalom. One of the ways we do this in India is we take our hands like this.
Which Lachadodi do you want to do?
Whichever you want to do.
How about you, Bernie? You got a
Shabbat
preference?
Shalom. And now finally, Lechadodi, our third welcome on page 8. This is when we welcome the Sabbath bride, the queen, to have a little balance in the world, to do away with the binaries and the either ors, and to have her bring in with her the and. Lechadodi. So we call to that which makes us whole.
חדודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה חדודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם תפארת ולתהילה לשם תפארת ולתהילה לחדודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לחדודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לחדודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לחדודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי בעורך קומי אורי כי במעורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לחדודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לחדודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה אוי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ברינה וצהולה גם בשמחה ברינה וצהולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה בואי חלה שבת מלכתה
remain standing if you're able so we can call each other to prayer with the words of the Baruch Hu on page 11.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Hamvorach Leolam Vaed
Page 15. There are two kinds of hearing. The one here, a spiritual hearing, a real Shema hearing that gets inside of your soul. It's a hearing that comes from every place and becomes one. You become one with the hearing, and then there's the kind of hearing that's in this week's Torah portion, ha'azinu, the kind of hearing that you do with your body, with your ears, and enters into your physical space. And we need both kinds of hearing to stop and listen so that we can have that kind of response, the holy kind of response that will make a difference.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. We can continue together on page 16. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננת בבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת, אמת, אמת. Page 18.
Which one? You come up to E minor one. That's a cute one.
people who have crossed many, many seas with many different melodies, many different songs. These are the words that we believe Moses and Miriam sang at the shores of the sea. But I have my doubts about Miriam. I think she didn't sing a song of war. As it tells us at the end, I think we have to reclaim those words that she may have sung, Miriam and her sisters. So let's sing those same words, thinking about the seas we have yet to cross. Page 20. This is a prayer that is only at night. Praise for a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace. Soon we'll be building those Sukkot, those fragile shelters that teach us that the only way to stay safe in the wilderness is to make the world a safe place. And it's interesting, the word for sukkah and the words for schach really are the same. Sukkah, that shelter that we build to keep us safe in the wilderness or even in the urban centers here. And the schach that we put over it. So that we can see. So what does it mean that you have to have a covering to let you be able to see? Like a veil in the wind. You know, you can't see the wind unless there's some kind of covering. Sarah would call the Yisacha, same word, a visionary. Behind her veils, she helped the people to see. We're getting closer to that time of Sukkot, where that full moon will come and create that shelter of peace, that promise of peace under that full moon. But before then, we have a lot to do. On Monday, we have October 7th. Figure out how to mark that day like we've marked 9/11, like we've marked other horror, days of tragic horror, human history, what it's led to. And then we'll have Yom Kippur. We'll stand together as a community, take on the sins of the world, beat our chests and say, how do we do better? We'll spend a day in fasting and in prayer and in learning together. And then we'll say the Yizkor prayers so that our loved ones in the next world know that we have not forgotten them. And it's for them that we do everything we do to make the world better, to be worthy of them in this world. And then Sukkot will come and will draw something new into the world. Behind those veils, we will see something new that will give us hope. For what they're saying in Israel, they're not wishing each other a happy new year. They're wishing each other a better year. You know, let it be a better year. Page 20.
Fros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Fros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Fros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Baruch atah Adonai. Haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'yakol hamod Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim and over Jerusalem and over Jerusalem. Page 21, please. V'shamaru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. The children of Israel shall keep the Shabbos, observing it in every generation. It's a covenant for all time. It's a sign forever between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days the Eternal One made the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day God rested. Vayi nafash. God breathed a soul into creation. Vayi nafash. God breathed the soul into creation. Vayi nafash.
Page 21, please rise if you're able. We begin the tefillah.
Adonai, Sivatai Tiftach. O God, open up my lips, that my mouth may speak a little poetry. Adonai, Sivatai Tiftach, Tiftach, Tiftach. That my lips may speak a little poetry.
We pray the words that are here, the words in our hearts. So when you're done with your own personal and private prayers, we'll invite you to be seated and we'll continue.
In the middle of page 29, please. Hatov, the one who does good. Ki lo chalu rachamecha, whose rachmonis never ends. Hamirachem, the one who is compassionate. Ki lo tamu chasadecha, don't take away your loving nature. Me'olam, forever, from ever, forever, kivinu lach, we have trusted in you. Hato, kilo, chalu, Racha racha mecha vehamirachem hatov ki lo chalu racha racha mecha vehamirachem ki lo tamu ki lo tamu ki lo tamu chasadecha meolam kivinu lam meolam kivinu lam. We have always put our trust in you.
This is Shabbat Shuvah, the Sabbath between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, named for the Haftorah, the Haftorah that says, return, 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 turn, transform, change, all about change. The portion for this week, as we anticipate the promise of a new year, is a very short chapter. Just one short chapter, just 613 words. Listen, not Shema with your spirit, but Ha'azinu. Give ear with your body to. Moses is going to be asking a lot of us in this final song. He passes on the mantle of leadership to Joshua, but also challenges each of us to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Moses sings to us that we need to remember the lessons of the wilderness and find ways to pass these teaching on to our children, to those who will one day take over for us, so that they too will live ethical and moral lives of purpose to shape a better tomorrow, that one day they will make the land truly a promised land. The end of Deuteronomy delivers us to this moment that we are beginning this new year, when we are called to take stock of our lives, to do the Heshbon HaNefesh, the inventory of our souls, that will give us, that will earn us the eyes that are able to see, the ears that truly hear, and the hearts that know that no matter how random and violent and complex our story is and the world around us is, we remember that we are here for a reason and that our lives have purpose, not just for ourselves, but for generations to come. On this Shabbat, between these holy days, the new moon of Tishrei draws us back to our source. No matter how far the politics of the time might take us from each other, on these holy days we dive back into the wisdom of our tradition to shuv, to return to each other and to the people we are meant to be, to awaken our desires so that when we return to the world, it will be with the ability to be part of the repair of all that is broken, so that we can be the champions of the most vulnerable, the ally to the stranger. For we are inheritors of Abraham and Sarah and Hagar, of their sons Isaac and Ishmael, and of Rebekah and her twins, Jacob and Esau, and their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. We are born of their stories and their legacy, and their stories are our stories. They are the threads of our lives, and they are woven from these stories. Just as plants need water, we need these stories, and we read those portions, those difficult, challenging, heart-wrenching portions on these holy days, and they push us to see ourselves in them, that we give them meaning. These stories are messy and raw and beautiful and real. We are Sarah, the jealous mother, who would cast out her sister wife and child to protect her own son. We are Abraham, the father, who would come so close to sacrificing his own son to appease a terrifying God. And we are Hagar, a mother who refuses to remain silent when her son's life is threatened. This is human history. And each week, the portions make us look at who we are and challenge us to struggle with who we want to be. When we study them each week, they're supposed to make us want to be more, to want to be better, to want to stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before us and reach higher and be more compassionate and more generous, more humble in finding our place in the lives of our families, friends, community, and yes, in the life of this planet. Jim has challenged us to do our part to draw down something new. Maybe you'll talk a little bit about that. What is it that each of us is going to draw into the world, something new this year? A chidush. I pray that each of us will have that opportunity to do our part, to keep adding to this story, this messy, wonderful, complex story. To use our unique skills and gifts to help us through these challenging times and to listen. Ha'azinu, to give ear with our whole selves and help us all find ways to respond to each other, to our community, to all peoples everywhere, and to our planet in ways that truly will be a blessing for generations to come. You want to say a word about your piece to draw something new? I know, sorry. We're getting old. Yeah.
Well, it's unavoidable.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, well, sure. But you know, the teaching that, my favorite teaching about those 613 mitzvot, is all you have to do is get one. Do one really well. Pick one. You can't do them all. Just get one right.
The old Rebbes used to pick one at a time.
Yeah.
And like say, this year, this is the mitzvah.
Right.
Next year, this is the mitzvah. And they'd pick a good one. They wouldn't pick an obscure one. They'd pick a gazunta one, you know. And you get a year that this is the year. But it's the same thing with drawing this thing down. On Rosh Hashanah, we draw something like a prompt. We're given a prompt. And the clue is in the year. All of our language has numerical consequences, and so you flip back between numbers and letters when you understand that. So it would be unavoidable that every year we would think about what's the word of the year, because all of our numbers have linguistic implications and vice versa. So we make an acronym every year, and you get a whole decade of interesting focus, interesting prompts. So like, for example, the last decade was a rich one. It was focus, ayin, iyun, to focus on something. So we got a whole decade of this year we'll focus on this year on this year on this. Because it was the 70s for us, 70 blank. This decade, it's the 80s. The 80s is rich too because it's pay. Pay is mouth. and communication. So every year in this decade, we'll have some sort of prompt about language and communication and the attention to language, to our language. So if we're thinking about peacemaking, which we're always thinking about, all our prayers are about peacemaking, then this is the year of making peace with our language and being careful, attentive to our language, and to be precise with our language, to be precise with our communication, and to move into the year with a posture of making peace in our worlds through language, through the way we can, through our words, what we can. What we can, yes we can, with our words. So I want to say, can I say one other thing?
Please.
See this instrument that's looking at me, behind me here?
The
What-
oud.
I'm going to tell you something about this instrument. I don't talk about this much. I write stuff is how I talk. I don't talk stuff, I write stuff. But in 1977, I was walking down a street and I sat in a park where people were gathered in Jerusalem, and people were barbecuing meats and dancing and singing and playing this instrument. And I sat down by myself. I was by myself, Sacker Park. I sat down in the park and I looked around and I listened. It was a sound I hadn't heard before. I said to the wind, to the sky, to the grass, what is this? And somebody overheard me and said, Maimuna. I didn't know what Maimuna was. Maimuna is a celebration of North African Jewry, basically. Moroccan Jewry, Algerian Jewry, Tunisian Jewry, Libyan Jewry, Egyptian, mostly North African Jewry. And it's given in the name of Maimonides' father. Not Maimonides, but his father. They lived in Fez for a while. The Rambam, we call him Maimonides. And he was a physician and everything else that he did. He was a great philosopher, a great thinker, great cataloger, and a physician, well-known physician to different courts, Courts. And then he went from there, he ended up in Cairo, near Cairo, physician to the court near Cairo. And he ended up in Israel. So this celebration, Maimuna, is beloved among North African Jews, and basically who don't live there anymore. They live in Israel, they live in France, a number of them in France, some here, but not many. Maimuna. So I came back to the States and I couldn't get this sound out of my head. What is this sound, So I went and found one of these instruments on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn, which is another story. And I started to play it. And I played it all wrong. I played it like I play classical guitar with my fingers, which is not the deal. So there was one of the world's best oud players came to the United States on a cultural exchange tour. And he was coming here to St. Louis. So I have a very fine instrument that I found in Claremont, California, from another oud aficionado who gathered up fine guitar woods and gave them to an oud maker in Orange County and said, will you make some ouds out of these guitar woods? Because none of the ouds in the world are made out of very good wood, because the Middle East,
Not a lot of
wood
trees.
is premium. They don't have guitar woods there. And so he was squirreling away these guitar woods for decades. This beautiful poet on the Claremont, California, where Snoop Dogg's mother lived. Aside. And so I acquired one of these fine ouds with beautiful guitar woods, Brazilian rosewood, curly maple, these very fine woods. So I took the oud with me to this guy's concert, and I made sure I got the front row, And I knew that even if I didn't have a word with him, he would be able to see from his place on the stage this fine instrument. And I sat with it on my lap. And I just sat there the whole concert, and the guy was staring at me through the concert, wondering, is he going to accompany me? What's he going to do? But I knew he would recognize an uncommonly fine instrument, and he did. And at the end of the concert, he goes like this. So I go up to the stage. He says, "What is this? What do you have here?" So I told him the story. So he said, "Play it for me." We went backstage. He said, "Play it for me." I played it for him. He said, closed his eyes. He says, "Well, that's interesting." He says, "Of course, you're playing all wrong, but..." He said, "The sound is really something. I've never seen an oud like this." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Listen, this is the one opportunity I'll have in my life. I need a teacher." He says, "Oh," he says, "I don't take students anymore. I'm much too busy. Besides, I live in Israel." I said, "I'll come." He said, "Will you bring that instrument?" I said, "Yeah." So about 6 months later, we went on sabbatical. This was in 1995. We went on sabbatical. Now, here's the important part of the story. That's all interesting, but that's not what the story is about. What the story is about is that every week, I drove 2 to 3 hours to go to the largest Arab town in the Galilee to study with this guy. An Arab man on a mountain nearby said there hasn't been any Jews living there since the early 70s. So here I drove into this town every week in my car, which branded me as Israeli, the license plate. Everybody in the town looked at me. The first time I went to that town, there were 2 ways to enter. He told me how to go, and I entered the wrong way. There were 2 gas stations. I went to the wrong gas station. And I ended up on a little road that ran out of road. Pretty soon, here comes a shepherd comes by with animals. I get out of the car, and I'm motioning to him. I take out my instrument to try to communicate to him. I'm looking for the oud player who lives in this town. So he sits down on a rock, and he has me play for him. So I play for him, and I can see that this is not going to help me. So I pack it up, I go in reverse, and I'm about to leave, I'm about to say, "I'll never find this. I don't know where to go in this town. It's a big town." At the moment I finally found a payphone, remember those? At the moment I found a payphone, there he is, behind me, looking for me. He's driving around looking for me. We connected, I went back, and I studied with him for however long we were there. I would spend 3 hours with him face to face, drive 2 hours back, 2 hours from it. And I know something about, because of this experience, I know something about what we're living with that other people might not know. I was in that Arab town. I spent time in that town. I came to know people in that town. Everybody knew me in that town. When I would come into that town, they would wave at me, even if I hadn't spoken with them. Everybody in the shuk knew me in that town. I know something about that world that's going on now that is so dear to us right now. I know something about this. And I say the reason that this music and this instrument took a hold of me is because I heard the music of Abraham in the music before the separation of Isaac and Ishmael. It was deeper than the separation of Isaac and Ishmael because it's common to Jews and Arabs, the structure of this music. Common to Jews and Arabs of the Eastern Mediterranean. I know something about this. And every time I pick up that instrument and play it, and I play it a lot, I'm making peace through my hands. I'm making peace through my hands. And from my hands, it comes into my head. And from my head, it eludes my mind and it enters my heart. Now, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov had a way of describing us as having tripartite interiors. We have mind, we have soul, and we have heart. And he said that there are certain activities in our lives that allow soul to speak directly to heart, sidestepping mind. Tripartite, 3 parts. Or it could work this way too. Allows my heart to speak directly to my soul, or my soul to speak directly to my heart, but always eluding the obstacle of mind. Every time I pick up that instrument, I am making peace through my hands. So in my world, it's hands, heart, eluding mind, soul. Does that make sense?
Mishaberach, with the oud. What do you say? Avi. A healing prayer. It just blows my mind that Jody is here. Jody, we've been praying for you for so long. And the last time I saw you, I wouldn't recognize you today. So it's really, it's a beautiful way for us. Thank you for coming tonight and sharing your recovery with us. Really, what a blessing. Our job in the place of people who are struggling to be well is to be positive. And you had people around you round the clock that were being positive. No matter what the doctors said or the nurses said, nobody was giving up on you. Power of love. Power of love. So we offer this Mishaberach, and I ask you to share it with all the people that you are hoping to heal. There's a man right down at Barnes who's healing from surgery from out of town. We'll pray for him. We have a whole list. But let's just, in our hearts, think of the people that could use some extra healing. Meredith Berkowitz, Robert Shepard, and Drew Patchen, Jordan Cromener and Maggie Bradford, Colony Chappell and Joe Whittington and Floralba Brown and Judy Kramer and Eli London and Marilyn Weiss, Jody Oh, it's Jody. Well, Jody, I'm going to keep you covered a little bit longer. Here you are. Got you on here. Avigdor Hannah Bat Bela, Carol Dill, Bracha Zelda Bat Rachel, Golda, Ricky Reeves, P.O. Travis Brown, Yitzhak Ben Mordechai Lev, Will Mason, Anna Navarro, hi Anna, Adam Young, Hank Weber, Andy Cohen, Curtis Behrens, Patricia Nelson, Elon Nissenbaum got his liver this week. He came home today from the hospital. Elon, if you're watching, we love you. Continue healing. Sammy Schaas and Danielle Zwieb and Fega Toiba, Pastor Daniel, Linda Daniels Block, Susan Spiegel, and anybody on the Michael? Any names we should mention? And your grandmother, Susan, thank you. Tell her we're thinking about her. So here's a Mishaberach, a wonderful Mishaberach on the oud.
Fatiri שוחלשי, ותן כוח לנפשי. פתח שער הרחמים, למשוכם במרומים. פתח שער הרחמים, למשוכם במרומים. על עבדך שמחתך, אין מרחם בלעדך. על עבדך שמחתך, אין מרחם בלעדך. אצא תפילתי, ורוש על עזרתי. אליי אצא תפילתי, ורוש על עזרתי. במהרה דרוקרה, גם בנקבירה. במהרה דרוקרה, גם בנקבירה. לפת צירי הנאמן, כי אתה רופא אומן. לפת צירי הנאמן, כי אתה רופא אומן. את ראשי שוחלשי, ותן כוח לנפשי. את ראשי שוחלשי, ותן כוח לנפשי.
Atah Adonai, Rofech HaCholim, please God help us to bring healing to the sick. And now if you've come to say Kaddish, if you've come to remember someone who died at this time in years past, or if you have a yahrzeit at this time, we'll ask you to rise first so that we can name the people. Here are the names of the people you've come to honor. Well, for your dad. May his memory be a blessing. Thank you. Anyone else here to say Kaddish? Avi's Nona. Zichrona Livracha. May her memory truly be a blessing. Well, this is a time of Kaddishes. This is a time when we remember. I'm going to invite the congregation, if you're able, to please rise. We can stand with our mourners to let them know they do not stand alone, but at this time of year, truly we are all mourners. We save the long lists. You know, we was looking with my friend Steve and Sarah at our yahrzeit plaque behind us. When we started CRC, we tried to do things a little differently. Instead of having people who paid a lot of money have big names on the wall, and people who paid a little bit of money have little names on the wall, we wanted to make something a little more egalitarian and something that wasn't about, big shotitis. I don't know. So we said no plaques, but we wanted to honor, we wanted to save those names. We wanted to have those names. And so we created, with the help of the Shelley Helfman, who was the director of the art department at WashU at the time, this yard site thing. And it comes apart, it travels, because we always travel for the holidays. But it has on it every name of every member who has died since we began in 1984. And every once in a while I just sit and I read through the names, because every name, a whole world, every name, a whole story. So for all the names, for all the good souls, let's offer the words of the Kaddish, words that defy death, words that say, live more fully and love more fiercely in the face of death. That is the greatest resistance, but also honors those we have loved and lost. And so we say together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayedachol be'Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei t'kudasha b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace truly bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to those who are bereaved among us, as we say together, amen. So we never leave each other without a blessing. We put our arms around each other. Bless each of you who came in person tonight. We really kind of thought we'd be talking to ourselves and singing to each other tonight, because everybody's been through so many prayer services the last few days. But it's what a blessing to see so many people here and to be able to share these Shabbat prayers with you. So we say, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Oh, sorry. May God bless you and guard you on this journey we are on. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May the upper worlds and the lower worlds get so close during this holy season of days of awe, and this Shabbat Tshuva gets so close that they kiss, and this broken, messy world can't help but long to be more like this world as it's supposed to be. And as they get closer and closer, let them become shalom, shlemut, closer to wholeness and peace with grace and with mercy. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may all that is good and high and holy help us to be the very best versions of God that we can possibly be. And may this year of 5785, the year of the pay and the hay, the opening of the hay, may it bring us, there's a tradition that says that it's the me siach, the seas of dialogue, that will bring Mashiach, the time of peace. Shabbat Shalom. Shana Tova. And please join us for the oneg outside.